All right, let's get right into it. We are breaking down how you can get your idea onto one of the world's most prestigious stages. Yep, the famous red dot of a TEDx talk. And maybe more importantly, how you can do it without having to shell out a fortune.
You've probably seen this number floating around, $5,000. That's what a whole industry of coaches and agencies claims is the price of admission. It's the cost to get through the door of what some are calling the public speaking industrial complex.
But according to systems expert and a guy who's been doing this for 40 years, Alberto Rocha, that's not just a high price tag. It's a flat-out lie. He's a firm believer that the secrets to getting on that stage should not be hidden behind some ridiculous paywall.
So, what's really going on here? If it's not actually about the money, why does landing one of these talks feel so impossible? Let's take a look at the myth versus the reality of how this all works. And you can't deny the myth is powerful. I mean, you've got this entire industry of PR firms and coaches popping up, and they're charging anywhere from $2,000 all the way up to $10,000. And what's their big promise? Guaranteed placement. They say they can get you past the so-called gatekeepers.
But here's the real secret. The money isn't the barrier you think it is. So if your bank account doesn't matter, then why are thousands of absolutely brilliant ideas getting turned down year after year?
Well, when you look at the data, a really surprising pattern emerges. A whopping 90% of rejections, 9 out of 10, happen because of one single simple mistake. And spoiler alert, it has nothing to do with your resume or how much money you have. It's all about the kind of story you're trying to tell. And here it is. It's what you could call the motivational speaker trap. So many applicants just focus on their personal journey, their memoir, their life story. But that comes across as a performance of ego, not an idea worth spreading. So here's the absolute game changer. You have to make a shift from a me story to a we idea. Your personal story isn't the main event. Think of it more like the data you use to make a discovery. The goal is to turn your experience into a practical tool that the audience can actually walk away with and use. And you got to remember who you're talking to on the other side of that application. These organizers, they aren't some powerful, scary gatekeepers. Most of them are just tired volunteers sifting through hundreds of applications, probably late at night. They're not looking for your life story. They're desperately searching for a clear, simple idea that just follows the format. Okay, so how do you give them exactly what they're looking for? Well, you don't need some expensive guru. What you need is a blueprint, a system you can follow to basically engineer your own success.
And this is it. The whole blueprint is a 5-phase system. It's designed to walk you step by step from fine-tuning your core idea to hacking the application to building the content and then all the way through to mastering your performance on stage and launching your talk so it actually gets seen. This here maps out that entire journey for you. And what you'll notice is how each phase just logically builds on the one before it. See? It's not about being lucky. It's about following a clear, repeatable process. All right, now let's zoom in on a couple of really cool, game-changing hacks from this blueprint that can make a huge difference, starting with that application itself. First things first, you have to build your talk around something called a red thread. The best way to think about it is like the string on a pearl necklace. Without that string, all you've got is a handful of nice, pretty pearls that are totally disconnected. But with it, every single story, every statistic, every joke, it all connects back to one powerful central argument. Now, this is a really clever application hack. Your bio should not be a resume. Seriously, ditch the job titles and the list of awards. Instead, you're going to frame your bio around an inciting incident, that one single moment, that spark of discovery that forced you to create the very idea you want to share. Okay, so let's fast forward. You got accepted. Awesome. Now you actually have to get up on stage and, woo, the nerves kick in. The blueprint says, don't fight them. You just have to reframe them. And the trick here is a really simple biology hack. It turns out the way your body responds to anxiety, the shaky hands, the racing heart, it's almost identical to how it responds to excitement. The only difference is the label you put on it. So instead of telling yourself, I'm so nervous, you just say, I'm so excited. But hey, getting a standing ovation, that's not the finish line. Nope. Getting your talk recorded is actually just the start of what might be the most important phase of all, the launch. Why? Because the YouTube algorithm cares a lot about what happens in the first 48 hours after your video is published. That is your make or break window of opportunity. To make a splash, you literally have to create what's called manufactured velocity.
You do this by putting together a launch team, a group of friends, family, colleagues who are all ready to go the second it drops. They watch it, they like it, and most importantly, they leave thoughtful comments and questions. All that activity tells the algorithm, hey, people like this, and it starts showing it to more and more viewers.
So, after busting all the myths and laying out this whole blueprint, what's the big takeaway here? What does this all boil down to? It really comes down to this simple but incredibly powerful phrase, si se puede. Yes, it is possible. And that's not just a hopeful chant, right? It's a method. It means that stage isn't just for the people with money or connections. It's for anyone with an idea worth sharing and a solid plan to get it there. That stage is waiting for you, and you don't need a $5,000 check or some fancy coach to claim your spot. All you need is your voice, an idea that serves as a tool for your audience, and a blueprint to guide you. So really, the only question left is, what are you waiting for?